We are Room 420, and today we have a very special guest with us today. We are Room 420, and we've done a lot of artist interviews, but it's about time we did something that was a little bit more involved with cannabis and what's going on with cannabis nowadays. So tonight we have with us Krystal Gabel of LMN Party, which is Legalized Marijuana Now Party of Nebraska. Um, and we are very happy to have her with us. We're going to be asking her a few questions along the way, and yeah. So, Krystal, what really started the whole legalized marijuana thing? I seen it was established in 1998. The Wikipedia said 2016. I was a little confused there, but that was probably just when the page was made about it. What kind of got you all started with that?
No, it's a great question. Thanks for having me. So legal marijuana now really started with the grassroots party. This is Jack Hare. There's a Jack Hare strain out there. And that started like in the 60s. So what happened over the years is other states have tried to have similar third parties, and it's difficult to start a political party. In Nebraska, in particular, we've been trying to legalize cannabis for years, for decades, since the 90s. Petitions have been trying to be fulfilled, and it's hard to collect 100,000 signatures. So when another marijuana petition failed in Nebraska, we decided that it's not necessarily the voters, it's not necessarily the people we want it. It's really the lawmakers, and we have to figure out a way around that. And so we decided to start a new political party, which means that we can run candidates for office, for governor, for Senate, for Congress, even for local things like city council and utilities. And then once we get people who are like-minded in office, that's when things can really change, right, for us when it comes down to laws, um, in general. So we started collecting. It was a big uphill battle. We're very grassroots. We would go out to the street corner, hold homemade signs. People pull over and sign our petition to form this political party. And people thought we were nuts, but we knew that we wanted to do something just a little bit different to get people activated. So finally, the second time around, we submitted our signatures. We turned them in twice. So we collected over 25,000 signatures to form this political party that really you only need about 7,000 signatures for. But that's how difficult it is. That's how many signatures they cross out. And we had to hire a constitutional rights attorney. And finally, we got on the ballot. And so for the past 4 years, we've been asking people to get registered to vote with us. And we've ran candidates for office. We ran someone for attorney general in Nebraska, and he got 38%, which is huge, which is a huge number for a third party. And then in December of last year, we reached 10,000 registered voters, which means that we are a major permanent political party, just like Republicans, Democrats, and Libertarians in Nebraska, which is just super awesome for us, for cannabis community, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And if I had to take a guess at the one candidate that you guys had that you said it was 38%, that was Larry Bollinger, right?
That's correct. He was out of the panhandle. Really, we need to challenge all of our state and federal candidate or lawmakers that are in office. So it was really great for him to get that huge of number.
Yeah, if
So
I if
yeah.
I remember right, I think the number was like 188,600 votes, somewhere around
Oh,
there.
probably because it's a statewide race, right? So he's collecting from every district, from every city, from every ballot. And that's another thing, too. We have our party name, Legal Marijuana Now, printed on every ballot. And every election commissioner across the state, right, has to put our name in the paper and next to the other candidates and on their websites. And so it's like a huge win for the cannabis community, again, just to have those words out there next to Republican and Democrat, right? Because uh, and then another thing too, when you go to the DMV in Nebraska and you can register to vote there, and right there on the screen it says legal marijuana now. So we attribute the DMV to like a lot of new voters, people getting their driver's licenses for the first time, getting registered to vote with us. So that's super awesome.
That is really awesome.
Yeah.
Um, So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you came from. I saw that you are a Colorado writer. So what do you write? Tell me a little bit about that.
So I am a technical writer. I work professionally as a writer. Um, but really that is my passion goes all the way back to I have a writing degree. I've worked in journalism. I have tech experience. Um, but this really all wraps into when we started wanting to run for office, right? You have to be well spoken, and you have to have to be able to represent people. And so a lot of our signature collecting was done on the street corner. So I was a freelance writer. It allowed me to just take time off from work. We lived in a van for 5 years while we were doing all this political work. And it was just amazing because I could write my own press releases. I could hear people's stories. And I'm also writing a book about, the journey to get on the ballot. So it's just like a lot of fun stuff when you are artistic yourself, right? You can make your own journey and then create something that other people will love from it. And that's really what Legal Marijuana Now has been for me as a writer personally.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. So, I love what you're doing, and I'm loving hearing about it. I did a little bit of research on you guys, and did a little bit figuring out. I mean, if I was a Nebraska resident, I'd say you guys have my vote 100%.
Well, thank you. That's so awesome. There's with the internet, there's so much out there, and we've been doing this for a long time now, for more than 10 years. But any Nebraska resident can get registered to vote with us. It's really easy to do online. It just takes 5 minutes. And so just you mentioning it, that I'm gonna do a little promotion there. So if you're not registered to vote, if you're registered to other parties and you aren't really voting regularly, we would love to have you be part of our party.
Absolutely. If you guys are a Nebraska resident, make sure you guys go register to vote with the LMN party. So
Right.
it's legalize marijuana now. Legal marijuana now. Make sure you go register to vote with them. Hopefully, and we'll try and share that as much as we can on our page as well. And
Yeah, I'll get the link out to you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um, so I gotta ask. I saw you were from Iowa. What brought you all the way out to Nebraska? Well, I mean, it's not that far of a drive technically, but I mean, you made your way from Nebraska to Colorado. Tell me about that.
So I grew up in Iowa. Moved to Nebraska after I went to college in Iowa. It's really just across the river there when you're on the western side of Iowa, and you know, um, Nebraska has a lot of opportunity. It has less than 2 million people. When I was there, I met my spouse who ran a community garden at the time. And that's really how I got involved in my activism. It's really nice outside to grow vegetables. And so we gave away, we did free food Saturdays. We had a whole corner lot where we grew food and cleaned up the neighborhood. And that's where my activism really started. Besides there were other movements too, right, when we were younger, but that was the thing that really activated like why I lived in Nebraska. And he ran for governor as well, Mark Elbert Jr., and he's the co-founder of this political party. He ran as a libertarian, and that's how I met him originally, actually, was when he was a candidate for office. And Nebraska really became my home. When we lived in the van, we traveled and we visited every state and county and state park. And I ran for city council. I've ran for mayor. I've run for other public utilities. The first time I ran for office was for a utilities district in Omaha, and I made it to the general, and I missed it by 1%. I missed being elected by 1%. The very first time I ran for office, and I was placed up, but when I felt like I was this young adult in my 20s and 30s needing to make root, right, and wanting to make friends and make a difference. And so that's Nebraska really fostered that. It's a small place, less than 2 million people, as with Kansas and anywhere else, right? These smaller states, you can go out there and stand on the street corner and meet people, real people, and they'll come up and talk to you. And so that's like the amazing thing that I miss about Nebraska is just like the community that you can create. And then I moved to Colorado. Well, when I decided that when you put yourself out there running for office, you put yourself out there. I was assaulted by the police several times. I was assaulted by another woman. I had a physical injury that I was getting therapy over. We were assaulted at Saturday in the Park in Iowa while we were petitioning there. And there was just a lot of like buildup and conflict and things. I felt like I was being followed by the police. It was a really interesting thing. And my cup was only half full when I started. And when I got done with all my activism work, my cup wasn't very full for myself. And so I moved to Colorado to get my medical card. I've been a patient for the past 6 years here, dealing with not only the trauma from being beat up by the police, literally, in Nebraska and in Iowa, but from other things too, right? That we all carry with us from our childhoods and all of that. And marijuana has allowed me to quit drinking. I don't use pharmaceuticals as an adult. I advocate, right, for everybody to stop with that. And so that's really been my journey from a town where I grew up with parents who went to the bar every weekend, right, and we drank as kids, to I'm growing food and activating people to vote for cannabis. And now in Nebraska, like 90% of people in Nebraska are completely okay with cannabis. Right? They're ready.
Yeah.
They're ready for a program.
There's a lot of people there that I know
Yeah,
that are
so
just like, why isn't it just legal yet? Like, nobody cares.
yeah, so it's been a big like growth journey for myself, moving from Iowa and to Colorado. But I think Nebraska's evolved, and so have a lot of people, right, in the Midwest, like myself, have evolved towards cannabis as like medicine and it's healing and it's everything, to them. So
Absolutely. And like touching back on what you said about it helped you stop drinking, like that's something that we've been noticing. And like that's why we're kind of doing the thing that we're doing, is because we noticed like alcohol sales are down. Nobody wants to drink anymore. Everybody wants to go out back and spark one up and just go have a good time and just enjoy the music
yeah,
that's there. I mean, that's just kind of what's going on in today's day and age, and people don't know where they can go to get good music. So, I mean, like, that's kind of why we're doing what we're doing. And like, you saying what you're saying just kind of confirms everything and helps me feel like we're moving in a proper direction. And I really admire what you guys are doing with the movement you guys have.
yeah, we appreciate that, and you're right. I did some research myself, and from what I understand, right, the like you said, alcohol sales are down, which is hurting venues, music venues, and hurting artists, right, as well. And so, how do we solve that? Um, if people are using cannabis instead, it seems like we have a big gap here, right? Like laws have to change. We have to be like there have to be safe. We have to recognize that cannabis is a safer alternative to alcohol. So DUI laws have to be changed, right? Right now they're ridiculous, right? DUI laws for cannabis.
Well, I've seen what
Um,
they're. I mean, like, not to get off topic about where we're talking about, but I mean, like, Oklahoma's getting crazy with their laws. I mean, I was like, I've been seeing updates on the news from Oklahoma, and I'm like, law change? What? What does that say?
you can't have it in your vehicle. Your passenger can't be using it. It has to be in your trunk. Like, I mean,
If
I
you're
can fill my trunk.
transporting it, it has to be in a sealed container. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's an
but I can.
automatic DWI. Like,
Yeah, but I can have a trunk full of beer. Like cases, cases of beer, and it's no problem whatsoever. But
yeah.
but that's exactly right. So for me, full legalization of cannabis is when we, the people, right, can have cannabis anytime we want it, anywhere we want it, without the government telling us how to do that. And we are far from that. Even in states like Colorado, you can only buy an ounce, right? There's all these rules behind it. I can only have 12 plants growing in my house if I want a home grow. Missouri is luckily expanding, like on the legalization, but we have so far to go. And so people are like, oh, we don't need legal marijuana now once we legalize medical. Oh yeah, we do. They can take that away the very next session. The lawmakers can, right, if they want to. And so that's why it's so important to have people run for office with our party, for us to get established, get voters, get people elected into office, right? Because uh, I'm getting old and I'm getting sick and tired of being told I can't do this right on a day to day. So
Yeah,
you you know.
it gets obnoxious. I mean, like, even just like trying to just relax. I mean, like, I would much rather smoke a bowl than just go and, like, oh, I need to drink a few beers, and a few beers turns into 8 beers, and 8 beers turns into I'm blacked out. I'm not for that, man. I know how that goes. It's way
Well, and
easier to just smoke once and just chill out for the night, relax, watch a movie, eat a snack or two, and
yeah.
just chill out.
Well, and alcohol's been weaponized. It's lobbyists spend billions of dollars to make sure that we keep selling alcohol and make sure marijuana stays illegal, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think like the younger generations are waking up to that, right? Because we have such access on the internet to understand all the money going to our governors, our Congress people, our Senate people are coming from big alcohol, big tobacco, and big pharma. And so you're absolutely right. Like when we want to just relax and we don't have that option and we live in such a stressful world, right? Like it feels like we feel like more like rats in boxes, in my opinion, than ever before. But did you see that study about rats and mice that when they stress them out, they go and hit the marijuana tab more often than when they're all relaxed and they don't have any stress in their environment. So that's why we're being driven to smoke weed more. It's because we live in a progressively more stressful world,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
like, if you think back, even even 1,000 years ago, like before there was like major monetary, like before the everything like was super expensive and you had to have a job and you had to go through an education and you had to go through this and you
Mm.
had to jump through this hoop and you had to jump through that hoop and you have to do all this. I mean, if you think back then, most people were just like, I need to make sure I have food.
Oh
And
yeah, we have so many levels of needs, right, that we have to meet every day, like micro to these massive macro ones, like make sure we don't like freak out and go to prison, you know? Like yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And even back then though, like we'll go back to the Bible, right? If there are any people who believe in Jesus on the line, when Jesus was healing people with oils, he was absolutely using cannabis oils, uh,
one of
in my opinion.
one of my favorite religious sayings is my Jesus smokes pot.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I have a question for you along the lines of like, what can I myself as Sunny B and Room 420 do to help support you guys?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, keep smoking weed, right? Keep supporting that industry no matter how you get access, because um, even if regulation goes away and we have to rely on the black market, right? We want that to be there. We want those growers to be there. So that's never worth it. But in terms of our political party, if you know anybody in Nebraska, get them registered with the party, get them, and I'm sure they're registered to vote because most people were activated to sign this last petition that the state of Nebraska is refusing to pass, even though 74% of the voters, right, want it. So get people registered to vote. We have a candidate right now for U.S. Senate who will be on the ballot this year. So we'll have a primary on May 5th for legal marijuana now. He'll be on there. If you're registered with us, you'll get that ballot in the mail. You'll get to take pictures, right, and share on your socials. So that's really important. And then in the general, we'll hopefully have people as well, right? They'll make it through the primary and get to the general. But our U.S. Senate candidate right now, his name is Earl Starkey. He's out of the Panhandle as well. Um, and that's a really big race. It's running against Pete Ricketts, who was the governor of Nebraska. And he says that drugs like weed are dangerous and kill kids, right? And then he was appointed into the U.S. Senate seat with no vote. And now he got reelected in. And he's the one who helped Pillen, who's now our new governor, get in. And someone just died on Pillen's farm. And Pillen just had a really bad press conference last night. And so we're just talking about Nebraska here, but every state has bad leaders like this, right? So that's how Room 420 can get involved, is get people involved in Kansas, in Nebraska. You know, young people should run for office as well. Um, We shouldn't be told how to live our lives for the rest of our lives, right? So
I agree with that.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And one thing I saw, I was scrolling through your guys' pages. I saw those custom lighters you guys have. Those things look cool. Why can't I get one of those?
Do I have one in front of me? I don't have one in front of me. Um, so we had those made a couple years ago when we were running Bollinger out of the third district for Attorney General. Um, so we don't have any right now. um, but I'll see what I can
Okay.
do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring up something a little bit weird, but I saw it on the news earlier, and it was Fox 31, and it says the first license 503A compounding pharmacy offering THC free prescription only CBD. So it's they made a prescription that is CBD only, and you have to have a script for it. That's just
Yeah.
kind of a little wonky to me.
So I'm sure you back in December, right? This is new news. They rescheduled cannabis. You remember seeing that in the news,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So like a few years ago, they started making, I think it's called there's a CBD only pill out there that children with certain seizures are taking, right? But it's made in a lab. Um, and I have a friend whose children are on it, and their symptoms improved tremendously being on it. But so so there's pros and cons, right? There's like children could live better lives if we do this correctly from a pharmaceutical perspective, if that's how people want it. But this whole rescheduling to a Schedule 3, do you know like what that means? Maybe what that
I have a vague idea of it, but I'm not too I'm not very
mhm.
smart when it comes to stuff like this. So forgive my
No,
ignorance, and thank you for educating
no.
me on this. I really appreciate it.
I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about it if you knew anything, right? Since you brought it up, I didn't know if you had any like other opinions. But basically, when it was a Schedule 1, it made big pharma. It made it illegal for big pharma to come in and touch it. So when they had the hemp bill federally legalized in 2018, that was when that CBD pharmaceutical came forward because CBD became scientifically able to study. So now making THC a Schedule 3 could be a win, right? Because it means that we can schedule it or we can study it, but that also means big pharma is going to move in. Um, and big pharma has huge influence with our lawmakers. I mean, they're the ones saying, let's keep cannabis illegal, right? So, like, there's a huge conflict of interest there. And so, like, right now you can buy strains, seeds off the internet, right, to grow your own. But there's going to be like seed battles. There's going to be patents over strains. You don't see anybody owning Blue Dream,
I'm sorry, that's
right?
my favorite one.
Well, it's one of my faves too. We were just talking about it earlier today.
I love
But you don't
Blue
see anybody
Dream.
owning that, right? Anybody
No.
can grow up. But what the rescheduling means that someday someone might be able to own it, and you can only get it from a certain pharmacy. Home grows could become criminal, right? Because now it's owned by big pharma. It'd be like making your own pills at home. Big pharma doesn't want that. They don't want you growing your own weed at home. And so, like, to me, what this is big government. So when you hear that phrase, that means I'm for little government. I want to make my own choices. I want my own freedoms. I want to grow my own cannabis in my backyard without anybody telling me. I want to grow my vegetables in my backyard without pesticides, right? Um, I want to be able to purify my own water without having to pay a water company a bunch of money because it's going to cost tons of money in the future. But what we have is a big government. They tell us how to live our lives. They're telling us now how to use cannabis, and it's very alarming. Um, but it can be a good thing too, right? Because it can save people's lives if they have epilepsy and different forms of seizures.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Yeah, I have epilepsy, and they were going to prescribe me something, but they said it can't be filled in Kansas, and I was like, well, we can't really move, so just kind of went out the water with that one. And I
was
just,
it a pharmaceutical or?
I don't entirely remember. It was quite a few years ago. I do remember that it was a form of, I think it might have been a CBD thing. I think it actually might have been the pill you were just talking about.
Yeah. I feel like it's like right on the tip of my tongue, and I don't want to just say it wrong. So I'm gonna look it up. Uh, it's called Epidiolex, is what it's called.
Yep, I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Hmm. Um, and I think a lot of people have seizures because of like our environmental exposures, right? Like you're young, but they've been dumping paint into our rivers for decades, for centuries, right? Ever since we started just colonizing this country, we've been destroying it.
I
So
remember my parents telling me about eating lead paint chips off the wall because they tasted good.
right? I mean, I sniffed plenty of those smelly markers when I was a kid. I'm sure that definitely didn't help.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. Where's
but going back to like what you said, your original question was about the big pharma, right?
yeah,
Did I answer your question?
yeah, yeah. You did, and thank you for educating me on that. Like I thought at first I was like CBD being a script only sounds kind of eh, because like in my opinion, you could go buy CBD at the gas station, but like uh, now that I understand that it's like an actual, there's a purpose for it and there's a reason why it's being prescribed. It helps me understand a little bit
Well,
better.
they put it in that pill form because it's hard to dose. Like if you buy CBD, and like where's it coming from? CBD can come from a hemp plant being grown in China, right? And so if they put it through the big pharma world, they can regulate it and give it, and parents feel comfortable giving it to their children. But there's plenty of people who get CBD from here in Colorado, which is grown from Colorado hemp, and give it to their kids. When I was campaigning in Kearney, an indigenous woman came up and she says that she remembers her grandma going out to the pastures and pulling wild hemp. I mean, it was cannabis, it probably had pretty high levels of THC because this would have been years ago, and putting it in the bathtub. And they would take cannabis baths as children. And so, like, uh, it's really like up to your discretion, right? As a parent, as a human being, like how you want to medicate yourself. If you want to use big pharma, if you want to do something naturally. And and like I think a lot of it is being educated too, understanding where your hemp comes from. Um, right? Like just buying it from the gas station is kind of scary, I think.
Yeah, that is, it is a little scary. Like it is, like when we're on the road and we're able to get it in places that is legal. It's really nice to go into a dispensary like in states like Missouri or Colorado where you don't really need a medical card. You can just kind of walk in there and they're like, okay, we need your driver's license to make sure you're old enough, and then we'll run you through
Mm-hmm.
the line, get you what you need, and
Mm-hmm.
uh,
The,
I could
the
understand how people would find that a lot more comforting.
Yeah, well, and federally they need to legalize it, right? So like every state, because a lot of states are holding back and not wanting to legalize it. I'm sure Kansas is one of them. Um, there's probably more money in putting people in prisons and arresting people over it than there is than they think there is, even though there's billions of dollars, right? Like I don't even know how many billions Missouri brought in. Uh, how many? What did Missouri bring in their first year? Did Missouri bring in first year cannabis sales? I mean, it was billions. $1.4 billion Missouri brought in the first year they legalized.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money. Yeah.
That's
Uh,
a very profitable industry. And
it
and there's a
is.
lot of states that don't realize that too.
You know, and so like there's the cannabis plant that we use as medicine, and then there's the hemp plant. So there's two separate plants
Hmm.
that we're getting CBD out of, and we're making like synthetic THC out of. But hemp itself is a huge industry, like that we as a country aren't taking advantage of, right? Like we're talking about we could make fuel for our cars out of hemp.
I saw
Um,
something about that.
yeah, we could heat our houses with it. We could make plastics out of hemp
You make
instead.
paper, you can make
Everything.
clothing, you can do a
Yep.
lot. I mean, I know they used to
Yep.
say that like hemp they used to use hemp fibers to make a lot of clothes, and it was like, and it lasted a long time, and it was durable.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't take nearly as much water as cotton. Cotton just is like a drought creator. And that's what we're missing out on really as a country. Like we talk about getting high and like the medicine part of it, but really it's like we need an economy. We can't work minimum wage fast food jobs for the rest of eternity, right? Like we need something new to do with our hands and do with our brains. It,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I think hemp could be is the future of that, right? Like uh we put corn and soy and wheat in our fields. You're a farmer. Right now, wheat in Colorado is worth $900 an acre. That's nothing. You could,
It's
if you planted outdoor ready hemp, you could get $1 million an acre. That's what I've read, and I've read in different reports. Uh,
that's a
what's
lot.
your yeah? What's your opinion as someone who a farm kid, right? Like, what do you think of that?
So, I mean, like, agriculturally, marijuana has so many, there's so many positives for it. I mean, like, it's so good for the soil. It is, it is so rich with nitrogen. It makes the soil so rich, and it makes it so good for the next crop that you plant. I mean, I know, because I know you noted like there is a difference between hemp and marijuana, and there's like wild hemp that grows out here, and sometimes farmers kind of let it get a little wild sometimes, and then they'll cut it down, and then that patch will be like a really
Hmm.
rich plot.
Oh, and then Nebraska, they don't like advertise it, but they throw hemp down because they have a huge tourist industry for coming and hunting birds, right? It's a huge bird food, food, bird food. Uh, but they purposely put it down, and then they have those areas where people pay to come in and get some get some birds and take them home with them. So absolutely, like the industry is there. We just need to like I truly think it comes down to getting the right people in office, right? So it isn't always about all the dumb stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah, and like it just it makes sense. Like just stepping back and looking at it, putting feelings aside, like it just makes sense to make it legal.
It does. So this is part of the difference between big government and small government. So when we legalize cannabis, we're creating a smaller government because right, we're putting fewer people in jail. We're sending fewer cops out there to patrol on that. Same with like regulation, right? The less regulation there is, the less oversight and big government there is. It's really, really, really important. Most countries don't have a government as big as ours that tells us how to live every moment of our lives, right? Um, it, and like I think that's how like this younger generation. I say younger because I'm in my 40s. I'm not in my 20s anymore. That's really what this younger generation needs to really focus on is taking control of the politics, so that so that the world, the country, their cities, right, their communities are built for like what they want instead of just like taking what was built for them, because that's political courage is going out and making something that's better for the world. We don't have political courage right now in the world in a lot of ways, right? It's hard to run for office. It's scary to run for office. It's scary to have an opinion outside of
Yeah,
social media, but that's what we need for
yeah,
sure.
it is. Yeah, and I mean, like, I don't have a whole lot of political knowledge. I mean, when I was in high school, I was a page for Senator Elaine Bowers. I used to read a little bit about it. I'm not too great with a whole lot of political terms and everything out there, but I know a little bit about a little bit, and it makes me happy to see that there is. Um if I recall, you guys also go by the Green Party.
So the Green Party is a whole separate group.
Okay,
Um,
cool. I wasn't sure. I saw that it said Green Party on Wikipedia. I wasn't sure if that was right. I was like, I think that's a different party, but I'm not. They might be together. I wasn't sure. I thought I'd ask about that.
no, there's like they've been around for a long time. They obtained ballot access in all 50 states a few years ago when Jill Stein was running for president. I don't know if you recall, you would have probably been pretty young when Jill Stein was running.
I
But
was that was around the time that I was actually really heavy into politics. Believe it or not.
I think it was like 2016 or maybe a
That
little
was
bit
the
before
year
that.
that Barack Obama became president.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah. And so so they are for like improving the environment, right? Like turning the light off when you leave the room, making sure we have clean water. They've The Green Party was really popular in the 80s. I think Ralph Nader ran with him. It's just like another platform people were using, right, to just talk about the environment. I think some of them talked about cannabis, but um, we should all be environmentalists, really. It shouldn't just be a party, I guess, is my in my opinion of like it looking at it in retrospect, right? Like it brought a lot of awareness. I grew up in the reduce, reuse, recycle age. And I don't know if that's what you were taught in school too, but I think that was just kind of all part of that snowballing, right? To make sure that we all didn't end up with landfills that killed
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
That might be where we ended up,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
and actually, when I was in high school, I do remember not trying to get too far off topic, but I remember we did a project in high school where we were talking about like saving the sea life because the sea life was like getting so endangered by microplastics and plastics in the water and like bottle rings and stuff like that because people just refuse to recycle.
Right. And we had a point in our history where we said we are going to make plastic out of something that will never compost, or we can make it out of something like hemp. We've had hemp technology since the beginning of time. It's not anything new. We made our people in charge made that decision in this country, right, and across the world. So it's really unfortunate that I know the microplastic thing just like makes my heart hurt because we all have microplastics in our body and everything. So I mean, not to get too off topic, like you said, but I think cannabis. Have you read like I don't know if you get all the studies, but they're saying it's helping with all these different cancers and all these things. Like the studies are starting to come out, and I think that cannabis will help with all of this, cleaning out our blood
I
and
do
all
agree
this.
with that, and I think cannabis helps. The medicinal properties of cannabis is they're immense. They have so many reaches. They help with so many things. I mean, be it like joint pain, muscle stress, strain, stress, anxiety. There's so many things that it helps with, and like it just like it helps. Like, why wouldn't we want something that would help?
Right. Well, and part of why they didn't want something to help was because if they make us sick, then they can make us into an industry, right? If we were all healthy and living our best lives, whoever they, right? They is the people in charge. But they've made an industrial complex out of the healthcare industry. You get sick, you go to the doctor, they keep you sick. You get arrested for something, they put you in the military industrial prison complex, right? Like you're just constantly like you either put into the military or put into a prison system. Um, it, it's crazy to think that that's the world that they wanted to build for us. I don't mean to get too philosophical, but I don't think that that's the world like our if there were civilizations before us wanted for us. But I don't know.
No, I think, and like going back to civilizations, like most of them were democracies, and I like in my heart of hearts, like I truly believe a democracy is a proper government because it's like it's a voice of everybody, and everybody can kind of come together and bring their own ideas together, and they can have counter arguments, and then as a group and in unity, come to a decision instead of people being like, well, that's not who I voted for. This isn't my president. Like I see that stuff so much everywhere, and it kind of hurts because it's like, are we not all citizens of the same country?
Mm. We have a really big country compared to most countries too, right? Like if you
Yeah,
look at a map of Europe, like their countries are the size of our states. And so there's like a lot of discussion about like, do we really need to be one big country? Could we be two or three or four even, and maybe be happier? It's just like a crazy concept, right? Because we're so young and we only know a segment of time, but like our world has constantly been changing, right? Our borders have always been changing. So I say, why not? Why not like make it so that we could be possibly happier in a smaller state with less government? I don't know. I know it's kind of a crazy thought. I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but
That's not something I've ever thought of, but it kind of makes sense. I mean like looking at like from a music standpoint and a musician's standpoint, I mean like touring throughout the United States and meeting people who have come from overseas to the United States, they're like, "Oh my god, this place is so much bigger than we thought." And then I'm like hearing about them and they're like, to go cross country, it's like a 4 or 5 hour drive, and I'm like, dude, I make that just to go to band practice. Like,
yeah, yeah. It's hard as a musician. Like even for a political party, if we wanted to be in all 50 states, we would have to do this collection of signatures in every single state. Um, so same thing as a musician, like you have to travel to every state, right, and tour and every bar it seems to get known because it's just like so vast. Yeah. Um, I wouldn't mind living in a country of people who just want to smoke weed.
that would be really awesome. Yeah, I mean, like, I think there's a few places out there that are like that. Isn't it like Amsterdam? That's one.
Oh yeah, the Netherlands.
Yeah,
They're
Netherlands.
pretty proud of that. You know, Seattle has a pretty wide drug policy too. Um, I'm trying to think. There's other countries, right? I'd have to like Google because I have to admit I'm not very worldly.
I'll say Chicago's pretty cool. I mean, like, they just anywhere.
uh, oh, we were watching. There's like so there's this TV show. It's on YouTube and it's older because one of the guys died. But they're called the Strain Hunters, and they go all around the world and they're looking for original land strains of cannabis. And they're out there in like India making chara out in the fields with these men who have been making chara for 100 years, and but it's called Strain Hunters, and they
Strain
basically
hunters.
yeah, write it down. It's really good, and they go to all the countries in the world where cannabis grows, and then they collect the seeds, and they started a seed bank. They were one of the first, probably one of the early seed banks out there for cannabis seeds. So, speaking of, I wish I did that.
That
That
would
would
be
be awesome.
fun. That would be a fun
Oh my,
job. I mean, could you
oh,
imagine just like Cheech and Chong International live, like just going everywhere, like, hey man, what kind is this?
I every time I like see them do it, like this guy or this girl who does it, I'm like, why didn't I do that? I guess I'm just not much of a traveler. I don't know, but I think it's so amazing.
It,
But there's weed smokers all over the world, I guess is my point.
oh yeah, I've seen things about like Iraq has a whole lot of stuff there. I mean, like, it's I know like you can kind of tell like where a strain's from by looking at it and like looking at the colors in it. Like if it's got like more of like a brownish color to it, like a tannish color, it's kind of more of like a Middle Eastern strain grown somewhere where it's kind of sandy.
Yeah, like Afghani. There's all
Yeah.
those Afghani
Yep.
stands
Yep.
strains.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
the one I'm thinking of, not Iraq.
yeah.
You're on the nose. I'm not as educated as I should be.
No, no, no. Some of my favorite buds. So, but I just watched Strain Hunters, so that's part of why I know. It's because they went over to Afghanistan. So, no, this is great. Uh, do you have what else do you have? Do you want to have anything else you want to talk about? I have a couple questions for you. Otherwise,
You have a couple questions for me. Well, I do have one
okay.
question for you. I was trying to do a little bit of a background on you and kind of figure out a little bit about you so that I was a little bit educated or whatever. But I saw you mentioned you went to college. I saw you went to Briarcliff University. I didn't see what your degree was, though. So
It,
I'm
yeah,
assuming after talking to you for a little bit, it's a writing degree.
it is a writing degree. It's a writing degree. Like, uh, an English degree. I just really, in order to write well, you have to read a lot, right? And that's how you gain knowledge, right? That's how you learn about politics and everything else. You have to suffer through all the reading. So yeah, I have a writing degree. Um, I have a year in journalism. I have some graduate experience in rhetoric and linguistics. So I've studied like how people
Mm.
use language and how they use space in order to achieve things. That's what rhetoric is. Uh, so I have like a Bachelor of Arts, liberal arts degree. Those degrees are really going away. Briarcliff doesn't offer the degree that I have. They don't offer any of the programs that I went to anymore, even. Um, and I think that loss of culture is really sad. I have to admit, some of my earliest cannabis experiences, right, were from going to a small college in Iowa. That those times have changed. It's really interesting, to say the least. So I'm saddened by that, by the way, for the younger generations. You all should be able to go to a college, no matter what state you're in, and experience cannabis. So, um,
Absolutely. But you said you
yeah,
had some questions for me. I'm curious.
yeah. So you're in a band, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then, so is that you that I saw performing on like your website? You play the guitar? Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of guitar do you have?
So I have an Ibanez Axion Label 6 string. I have three of them actually. I have quite a few guitars. Um, they're all
Say, oh, you
back.
can't see it. Okay, you have a
They're all
drop.
back here. So this one and that one is the same as that one and the one right next to it. That one. Oh, it's a little blurry.
Yeah, let's zoom for you. But they're all the same brand.
Yeah, they're all
Usually,
the same
I
brand, same model, same everything. Those are my go-to guitars that
oh
I
no, I
play.
hear it. Uh, I don't play an instrument. I used to, but my spouse, he plays the guitar and the bass and the drums, and so we have a few GNLs, and we have a really like 1970s drum set here that's like see-through green. It was made by Cadillac, like the car company.
Ooh.
So there's like I think that's really great. I love the music, I guess. Um, uh, who are some of your favorite bands?
I have quite a few favorite bands. It's hard.
Yeah.
So, I go from well, I really like math rock. I like Polyphia. Polyphia is a big one up there. I like Paleface Swiss is a really good one. Pierce the Veil. Chevelle is one of my top bands. I love Chevelle.
Man, they came out when I was like in high school.
I love Chevelle. Um, I like Local H. I love Local H. Trying to think like Joyce Manor. There's a lot. I have a range, man. I go from like jazz to I listen to some foreign bands. Like one of my favorite Japanese artists is Range. I just listen to music because I love the vibe. I like this Russian band called Ice Peak. They're really awesome. I have a wide range.
No, I think that's great. I'm glad that you said you had a wide range, right? Because it's like being well read, in my opinion. I grew up on like a lot of female bands, like Hole and Garbage and Bikini Kill and L7. And oh, my newest one, I don't know if anybody's heard her. Her name is Delilah Bond. She's from the UK. She's like a new metal riot girl because you're new metal, right? Like that's how you classify
A little bit, yeah.
your music. I love it. But she like just wrote a song and released it about all the ICE activity in America. So anyway,
I might have to
uh,
definitely go check that out.
yeah, no, I just love like how the current artists are keeping up with like the political activity still because like it's hard to get published, I think, as an artist or get, you know what I mean, like, but I think social media has changed that. I mean, has it? I guess is my that was my next question for you because I remember like as a kid you always had to like get an album made and get signed. Is that
So,
like true
um,
still?
So, as a band, it's really nice to have like a little bit of a repertoire. You kind of have to have like so much experience before somebody will pick you up. You have to have like stage credibility, stage presence. There's a lot that goes into it. Plus, your music has to be good. Um, if you can get
Or
away
else they
with
should
being.
just like,
Oh, sorry, what was that? You cut out a little bit.
no, it's okay. Once you like, you actually want to be live, or not just on social media.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is people who do blow up on social media. I will say that there's been some artists I know of, like Boy with Uke. He started on TikTok and blew up from a song he made on TikTok, and then he started touring. And I remember he was playing with, I think he played a show with Flyleaf. It was he opened for them. And I was like, wow, that's a big name. And but there is definitely some ways to blow up from using social media. Social media helps and it hurts a lot because it at the same time as yeah it will get you out there, you got to think there's also every other person who went through COVID is trying to become a musician. And I mean, like, there's people who are trying, and it's like there's so many songs. I mean, like, there's different publishing companies you can go through that will publish your music to like Spotify and Apple Music, but they get like 100,000 plus songs a day uh, just
Yeah.
uploaded on their tracks, and it's like it's kind of hard to compete with that many, you know.
Oh yeah, it's totally hard to compete, and like with venues closing, I mean, it even hard to book stuff in person. Then is that like kind of the what's going on too?
So venues, there's a really big thing we've been seeing, and this is another thing that Room 420 kind of wants to do. This is kind of why we're trying to do what we're doing. Is we see a lot of venues that book shows and have these artists coming to their venues, but they don't do any promotion or try to fill their bars at all. They think that it all falls on the artist, and it's like, well, if you guys helped out, and it's like a team effort. I mean, like, everybody kind of has to come together and do stuff. So that's kind of like we want to help do a lot of promoting. We want people to be able to find local music, like bands that they like, close to them, like live music that they want to go see. That's like kind of like the whole point of Room 420 as well. Is like we do a lot. Like, we want to promote all things cannabis, from paper to everything they do, and which is like kind of like I was sitting here and I was like laughing inside when I was hearing you explain everything, because I'm like, she says everything aligns perfectly. It's crazy. Like,
True though, it's true.
but we like to share. We like to build highways, not just bridges, and we don't burn any of them. We like to make sure that everything's still there and everything's still intact. And there's if anybody happens to want to come back down that road eventually in the future, they definitely can, and there's always going to be an opportunity for everybody to do better.
You're right though about promoting each other. I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for all of the people who promoted me and told their friends, "Hey, Crystal's going to be in town today. You should stop out and see her." Right? We held over 450 events to collect these signatures to become a political party. That's not any different than holding a music event, right? Like, we had to drive there. We had to make sure people were going to show up, right? We did a ton of promotion. We made sure people could share it. Like, it is a huge effort, a huge web of people, and I think like you don't realize it, but there's like a ton of people always there supporting you, right? If you just keep pushing forward, and I think that's like, I guess that's what I want to keep telling you too, right? Like, as long as you keep pecking away at what you want to become, you will get there for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. Persistence is key in every situation. I mean,
Oh yeah.
most
Oh
situations. I will say that. Sometimes it
well.
isn't always the best. Sometimes you need to just like, okay, I understand you're not around what you're doing. I'll step back for a minute and wait for until you're not busy.
It's actually resilience. They say that most people quit a task that is difficult for them after just 5 minutes. Most people don't stick to something they promised for more than a day or two. Um, so it's really about resilience and wanting just to be the person who sticks at something longer than the other person in a lot of ways as well. So, but,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we've
Um,
been talking for a long time, man.
we absolutely have. I can go ahead and let you go if you want. Hopefully I will be in Colorado soon. I don't remember. I think it's June, middle of June. I think I'll be out in Colorado. I'll be there for Luna Fest.
Where's that at?
Um, Let me pull up my website real quick.
Okay.
I have
Luna
it
Fest?
on.
Where's it to?
We go to.
Oh, is it in Longmont? Is
Yes,
that
Longmont,
okay?
Longmont,
Okay.
Colorado.
That's more north. That's up by Boulder. That's a great place. There's a really great Mexican restaurant downtown I could recommend to you.
So,
But
actually, funny
yeah.
story, I'll tell you. My whole family is like all originally from Denver, Aurora,
Oh,
all around Colorado. So,
so you know.
my grandma lives in Aurora. My dad's oh, every time we go back to Colorado, we have to get Santiago's green chili.
They're pretty good. I mean, they are. I mean,
It's my dad's favorite is the Santiago's green chili. That he used to get that all the time.
now you're gonna make it so I have to go there. I haven't been there in years, if I can be honest. But no, we should totally meet up when you're here and smoke a J. And
Absolutely. Take some pictures together. Post
yeah,
them.
yeah. And it would be really great if you wanted to promote our U.S. Senate candidate Earl Starkey as well. I I don't know how chatty he will be, if he will be as chatty as me, but
Yeah, we can definitely do some promoting.
yeah, it'd just be nice for him to get out there and let the 420 community, know his name, and that helps a lot too. So
Absolutely. Well,
awesome.
I really appreciate you for sharing your time and thank you so much for educating me. I mean, I definitely learned a lot today and it makes me feel a little bit better. And
Oh,
makes me feel good to know that there are people out there who are very like-minded with what we're doing and are trying to make a change and trying to make everything a little bit easier on Americans.
I just wish, like, distance wise, like we were talking, we were closer because there's so many of us like-minded, right, that we can find online. It's the getting together that's hard. But I learn something new every day about cannabis. There's like a whole world out there, right, that they've suppressed from us and they lied to us about, and that they've kept illegal because it's good for us. So I absolutely say go do some illegal stuff, smoke some weed. No, right? Uh, learning, knowledge is power, though, and that's what our politicians and our law enforcers don't want us to have knowledge of. So, alrighty, fuck
Thank,
around and find out, folks. We're the Legal Marijuana Now Party of Nebraska. We're coming after your votes, and we're gonna change the way politics are in this world for us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you once again. And we'll definitely be checking you guys out in the next one. And we'll be definitely doing some promoting for you and be sharing this as many places as we can. So hopefully we can grab you guys as many votes as we can help with. So
Likewise, hope we can get you some more followers too. Take care.
you too.
Thanks, honey.
Deuces.